as promised, I am going to show everything that I made with the April 2025 bead box. This was actually the very first bead subscription that I ever got. And when I first got it, I made a bookmark and a bracelet, which actually that makes 12 bracelets in total I've made. But I made so much stuff that I couldn't even fit it here on this right here. So there's still a bunch to the side here. I did kind of tally up everything I did, and I do want to say, and I mentioned this in the last video, is that, you know, I got all excited when I got this and was like, I'm gonna make things for my friends. And I actually went on and bought an extra of each thing that was in there, mostly. I tried to. There are a few things I couldn't get extras of. They didn't have any. So this is a huge making of stuff because I did have a lot of extras. But even so, I made a lot of things, and I obviously, you'll see, I'll mention when I brought some things in that were not from the box, because, you know, sometimes you want to just bring things in from your stash, or, you know, you want to see how creative you can get, and maybe the box doesn't have everything. So here's my little tally, and actually I have 12 bracelets that I made. If I count, I have to go get that one, grab it real quick. Earrings I made 10, bookmarks I made 6, and 3 necklaces. So I'll kind of go by category of what I made, and then this is everything that kind of came in here in the box. I did have some left over, obviously, because I did buy doubles of things. So I do have some of these check glass drugs left, 4mm. I also have left over, let's see, this would have been the check glass melon, spring green, 5mm. There's these turbines, 6mm. More drugs, olive, 4mm. These shell mother of pearl chips. 2 of these check glass tulips. And then a bunch of the fire polish 3mm, because I do get the box and the bag. And so the bag always has lots of these. And then these seed beads that are 15-ohs. These are super, super delicate. And then these are the check fire 4mm. They came in the bag. So that's what's left over. I'll just throw that in my stash to use later on when I need to pull for other projects that I'm working on. So I'll go over everything that I made by category. And so that's a total of 30 items. So I guess, you know, since I got double, maybe you could have made 15 or more. I mean, I still had a lot left that probably didn't even dig into the doubles, and I brought them some things in, but I'll show you everything. Okay, so I zoomed in a bit so you could see things a little bit closer. I'll start with bookmarks because that is the first thing I ever made when I got this and started this beading journey. And I made this beaded bookmark. We have the fire polish beads here in the center, and then some decorative elements here. Clearly there used to be part of this. I probably didn't close it well, being that it was my first project and I lost it. But that's a real pretty check glass bead right there. And so that is the very first bookmark that I ever made, ever project from this. And then I did make more recently some bookmarks. I'll start with this one. So this one, you can see you kind of wrap it around. This goes like in the center of your book. So if this is the book, let's see, let's just put it on. Like this, you would have that in the page holding it, and so I have this, and this is stretchy. Used a little cat check glass there. These beads here were not in the box. I added those on. These green ones were, and obviously the check glass one was there too. So that's that style of bookmark. Then I made this one, zoom in again, which is just you stick this in the book and this kind of dangles off of the side. And you can see I made these 3 little dangles here. This I weaved, and you'll see this kind of design several times because I was kind of practicing doing that, and I made a bunch of earrings with that. I made earrings that are not part of this box as well. I was practicing that. This yellow bead was not in there, and this pearl was not in there, and obviously this ribbon wasn't. But I like how this came out. This is one of my favorite styles of bookmark because it's just small, compact, easy to carry with you. I also did this bead weaving project for all the things that were like inspired by or I used a tutorial for. I'll put it in the description so you can see it. This bookmark piece here, I believe came in like Potomac beads, maybe like they're metal extras or something like that. I don't remember, but it wasn't part of the box, and this white round bead wasn't either, but all of this was, and these seed beads were not part of it. And so I just made that. And then this is another style of bookmark that I like to do where it's flat. Instead of having like the ribbon here to stick in the pages, you have like a flat metal piece like this, and then you have these that dangle over. So for this one, again, these flower check beads, they were not in the box, but I just kind of added them to kind of work with them as well. These, again, which you saw in the other bookmark, these faceted beads were not in it, but the rest of the stuff I do believe was. Obviously chain and head pins and stuff that do not come in dollar bead box, at least in my experience, the ones that I have. And then the last bookmark I made, let me zoom out a little bit here, is kind of like, you know, something you can keep a log of what you read, give yourself a rating, you can color in on this side as you read through your books. And I kind of designed it because I'm a big reader. I think I read over 90 books last year. So obviously mine is not going to fit on here. But how I made it is that you can unclip this, grab another one of these, and then still have this kind of dangle piece there. So put that back on. Let me show you the dangle piece here. So get in order here. The first dangle here, these orange seed beads, actually delicas, were not in the box. The check glass I already mentioned isn't, but these fire polish were. This charm was not, just something I had in my stash, as well as these rondelles, crystal rondelles. These bicones, really pretty bicones, were in the box, as well as this bead there. And then this one, I made kind of like a little dangly piece. I weaved these on here. I like the look of white, the white string that I used for that on there, and I just kind of picked a motif there and made this. So that kind of dangles like that. And I really like the idea of like even having this to like put on a new one when you fill it up. This could also, you know, you could also attach this to like your handbag for like a handbag purse charm as well, with all these little dangles that are on here. So those are my bookmarks. Okay, so next up is necklaces, which I don't make a lot of. So I did use some videos that I found to kind of figure out how to design these, since I've never done that before. This particular, it would help if it was in the screen, right? Is from Becky and Jenny's channel, and I believe it was just Becky at the time that she designed this, and she did this kind of style of necklace with this tulip bead with a little tiny 15-0 seed beads. Her pattern was different because at that point I had different beads left. I also had some extras. So I kind of changed the pattern, but kind of followed her direction there. Definitely followed her direction on this piece here, which was a really cool way to use those tiny little seed beads. And then this, wasn't in the box, but I really enjoyed doing this. I don't make necklaces a lot, but I feel like this style was really manageable for me. I like the asymmetry to it, as well as just how long it is. It looks really nice with just like a plain t-shirt to make things look a little bit nicer. So I really enjoyed that. I will link that video down below if you're looking to make something similar. She gave really good direction, and I just love this piece. Won't be giving that one up. Next up, in kind of similar fashion here, I've seen a lot of necklaces where the clasp is in the front, and then you have something hanging down from it. So I did make this clasp and this chain were just in my stash. Everything hanging here was from the box, or box and bag, dollar bead bag, box, all of it together. And so this was really simple. Another one, great with like a plain top to spice things up a little bit. So that's a nice necklace. And then the third necklace I made, kind of came up with this one. I had gotten these wavy spacers from Bargain Bead Box, or Bead Box Bargains. So you can buy separately from the box. You get a discount because you're a subscriber, and I saw these and I love them. In fact, I just bought some more because I felt like they just went so well with these chips. And again, this is one where I kind of put the clasp in the front and have this dangling down from it. This is again from Beadbox Bargains, just something extra that I bought, and it's a link, but I just did it as this with this little hanging down here, and then this clasp, and then it kind of just goes from the chip beads to those wavy spacers to these drucks, and then these fire polish beads in between. And this is besides this bracelet, this is not bracelet, necklace, this is my favorite. I'll be wearing this a lot. So those are the necklaces. Okay, so many earrings, and earrings again aren't something that I make a whole lot of, but for some reason I felt really inspired. I was learning a lot of different weaving techniques and just trying to be as creative as I possibly can. So anything here that came from a video I saw, and particularly these here, it's a little bit different than the video, but was definitely inspired by, so I want to give the credit there. And then some I just kind of came up on my own. So lots of earrings, more than I could probably ever wear, so I might be listing some of these on Depop or my Etsy page, because I just can't conceivably wear these many. And some of these just aren't like the style that I personally wear, but I liked to design them. So I'll start with these again, Becky's video on with the tulip and using those tiny little seed beads, which are super delicate, and I tried making more projects with them, but they would break if, too many times going through, so I didn't get to use them as much as I wanted. So, but this was a great use for those. So that is this. Those are the first set of earrings that I made. I'll go to these ones. So you saw that on that bookmark, I kind of had a version of this with a little dangly. I like it without the dangly, and I kind of mastered my way to do it. Obviously there was a video that kind of showed a way to do this kind of style, but use different beads. So I had to like kind of modify a little bit, but I made a lot of these just to kind of practice that, and I really like these. And I like the color combinations. And you can see throughout all my projects, I didn't just use gold the whole time. I also was able to use silver too, so the box works for both. So these ones, for example, are silver. There with that, so made tons of these. And I might as well show you, I really was practicing. So out of my stash, I just found lots of beads. And like I said, they had the dangle in the video, but I kind of like it just like this. This is more me, but on this one, I just love this color, these seed beads that I used, and these rondelles that I used, like, just look so vintage. I love that. And here's a really pretty one too. So I was just kind of practicing that. Obviously not part of the box, but something I was working on this month. All right, so for other ones, these are just really simple. This one, this was just in my stash, and uses that little druck down there at the bottom. These are one of my favorites, and you can see I did that same thing again with the link, putting a little dangle right there. And these are pretty long, but they're really pretty. So I like that one a lot. This one, instead of, you know, these ear hooks, I had these where it's like a little bow, and then you can put your dangle on that. This is all from the box except for the bow, the findings and stuff. And these little spacers were something I just had in my stash, which I thought looked really pretty there. This one, this bead cap was not in the box, but everything, actually no, these little beads on the end were not either. So it was just basically this, but it's fun to like go through your stash and see what else you can make work with it. So these dangles here, you have a little sea bead sandwich there between those as well. And then similar to the bookmark, it was actually the opposite, where I had weaved some beads down here with this. I did the opposite and did it here, made that, and weaved this in, added that little druck right there. I'll probably list those for sale. And then lastly is this. So this is just this earring finding that I had. It's actually very lightweight. I'm pretty sure it's just plastic. It's just gold toned, but let me flip it over the right way. I made this little dangle, and then I just weaved these in myself, kind of just figured it out on the fly how I wanted to make those stay. I like how organic it is. I like how it's a mighty earring, but it's lightweight as well. So I made those. So those are the many earrings that I made. Lastly are the lots and lots of bracelets that I made. So let me see if I can find the very first bracelet that I made. I made this around the time that I made the bookmark, and it is a button style bracelet. So I had this, and then here it is 2 strands, and everything here is from the box. So that was one of the very first things I've ever made. So I have that bracelet. This one, I found a video on how to do this. I think I did change it up a little bit, but definitely inspired by these purple beads. These duos did not, super duos did not come in there, but I really wanted to do like a purple and green. There's no purple in the box, but I had these super duos, and I had a lot of them. So I did that, and it has a magnetic clasp right there. It's really pretty. So I made that bracelet. I have this memory wire bracelet, which I think Dollar Bead Box is one of the best boxes if you want to do something like this, because they give you so many of these little fire polishes and smaller beads. And you know, it's hard to get bigger beads onto memory wire always, especially when you have this many layers to it. But this was a really good use of all those beads that I had from buying doubles and things like that. So I just made this. Most of the beads are from Dollar Bead Box, except for like these kind of not squarish, diamondish spacers in there are not. And there's some seed beads in here too, just some gold. These are 8/0s. Those were not in the box. I really like this faceted one that came. That's really pretty. Okay. All right, let's see. Here's just a clasp one. I kind of, again, did that kind of chip bead and then these fire polish in between. I have very tiny wrists, so these probably look really tiny on screen too, but it's just, my wrist is really tiny. But that's that. Let's see what else. Okay, so this one I definitely used a YouTube video to make, and so I'll include it. It used those faceted bicones, not faceted, these, what do you call these? Crystal bicones? Crystal bicones. And then any of the seed beads were not in the box, but I was able to also use these fire polish there. And so this kind of just, it looks better when it's laying on. It like kind of lies very flat. It looks a little twisted right now, but you can see here it lies pretty flat with the magnetic clasp there. Here is just 3-strand. This one, these kind of, I don't know what you call them, but they kind of like go around beads. The name is escaping me right now. Were just something that I had, and then everything else besides the findings was in the box. And I had this where you could put 3 strands onto it. And then I have another style of magnetic clasp. All right, I think I have some two stretch bracelets, I think. This one with a little dangle, and then this one. I really got into kind of, you'll see it in one that I got a tutorial from, but like not being necessarily symmetrical and kind of just like designing and going and making it very artistic. I really like that style, so I did that. This one, everything except for seed beads were from the box. And this is the one I was talking about. So there is someone on YouTube named Joey, and she does amazing stuff. I really like, it's very artful and design minded. And I use different beads than her, but I got kind of the flow and making these little elements in between from her. And this is probably one of my favorite bracelets that I made here. So that is this, and this just has, I used one of the pieces from a clasp there, but I just, as she showed in her video, which I'll link below, she kind of just made this loop here with some seed beads. But I love this one. Different beads, but similar to what she made, and definitely inspired by that video. All right, we got 3 more left. This one was just making, weaving this through. And I really liked that you could see this thread. I think the tutorial that I saw used like a clear nylon, but I kind of like how it kind of creates something else using the white. So I had started with the clear, and I said, you know what, these are all really transparent beads. I want to see what it looks like with the white, and I ended up liking that, so I kind of stuck with that for this one, because I think it makes it look a little bit different. Simple lobster claw clasp there. And I was able to use those tiny 15-0 seed beads, but I will say they were breaking, they're delicate, but I was able to use them here. Here's another bracelet, just kind of another tutorial that I saw. A lot of these things I'll see a tutorial, but I'll change it. Obviously I might not have the same exact beads, or I change it up a little bit, but that was inspired by that. And then lastly, I mean, I guess this could be like a choker for someone. I haven't tried it like that, but it's just a wrap bracelet that I made here. So, and it's this really pretty clasp that I had in my stash. These were not in the box, but everything else was, besides the clasp, obviously. So I made those little links there for that, but that's just a nice wrap bracelet, and I think actually it could very well work as like a choker if somebody really wanted to. Kind of asymmetrical in a way, another asymmetrical. So that's it. That is what I made, and most stuff I've ever made from a box, but full disclosure obviously is that I bought multiples of things because, you know, as a member of Dollar Bead Box and Bag, you can then go on the site and all the strands and different things are $1. So that was nice, and this is what I have left over, so I'll throw that into my stash to incorporate into some other things. And I think I'll show you what I'm going to be working on next. So as you can see, I've really been trying to do more of like weaving and things like that, and learning different techniques that use, you know, needle and thread. So I have a couple things that are like kits that I kind of want to do, that are kind of piling up. Instead of doing like a whole subscription box, I think I'll do some of these kits, even though some of these kits are subscription. So I don't know what I'll do yet, but I have, this is from John Bead, just something I randomly came across. I believe it's for like some fringe earrings. And so that's a kit there. This one I got from Eureka Crystals. This is the Miyuki Berry Tart kit. So it makes a kind of little focal that you can put on a necklace that looks like a little berry tart with a little fork there. So that's cute, so I can try that out. Then I have some Potomac bead kits that came from their monthly kit subscription, which is separate from their treasure box. So what this comes with is 3 projects and all the things that you need for it. And so here's some lobster clasps, but some of the projects here is like a pendant. What else? This one is a pearl knotted necklace. And then down here is a bracelet. So this is a really good way for me to learn some techniques and to kind of practice my bead weaving. So I have that one. And then I have this one, which has some earrings. Again, all the pieces for it. It even comes with the needles and the thread, and obviously you can see the patterns. What's this one? This one is a necklace, and then we have another bracelet. And their most recent one, I've only gotten 3 of these, and I'm taking a break because that's a lot. It came in this little bag, not a box this time, and it has this necklace, another bracelet, and then some earrings. So I don't know which projects I'll do before I put up a video to show what I did. I'll kind of pick and choose easy to start with ones, although I'm getting a good hang on bead weaving a little bit, but I have those as my options. So that will be my next video. So here it is again, everything. I mean, just look at that, that's just crazy. So I'll be listing some of this stuff on Depop, and I also have an Etsy, because I just can't use all that, and I can give to my daughters and I can give to my friends, but they still won't be able to take everything. So I like to put it up there to see if anyone is interested. So those are the 30 things I made with the dollar bead box from April 2025.